Hello, my name is TMacAvoy. This is my final project presentation, part 2, for the final project for GEOG 883. I'm going to be studying hurricane impacts on maritime archaeology in the North Florida coastline. Part of my work is that I work with a team of maritime archaeologists here in St. Augustine, Florida, where I serve as their GIS technician to help them recover, identify, and record maritime archaeological sites and artifacts from the bottom of the ocean off our coastline here. With that in mind, the objectives of my study is to understand and classify changes to the North Florida coastline where the Lighthouse Archaeological Maritime Program, or LAMP, conducts its maritime archaeological work, specifically in the aftermath of hurricanes and strong storms. I also want to understand the rate of change or change detection in the neighboring coastline and the active study sites of LAMP. Hurricanes are a bit of a double-edged sword here in the world of maritime archaeology. On the positive side, they can shift the ocean floor and reveal previously unknown shipwrecks or artifacts. On the downside, though, they can also lead to the loss of artifacts via just being pulverized or damaged, or it can lead to the actual total loss of an archaeological site through erosion or flooding. For my study, or for my project, my study area is reflected over in the image to the right. I'm going to be looking not only at the 35-mile a section of the coastline that's about 35 miles, which is the yellow box that you see there, and comparing it from 2010 to 2020 to see what the historical changes have been to the coastline. I'm also going to be looking at 4 active study sites that the LAMP team works upon, and these are the red boxes that you see here. The yellow box will the coastal study area will be using the lower resolution Landsat data, which is at a 30-meter resolution. The focused study areas, I'm going to be using the Sentinel-2 data sets, which are at a more fine 20-meter or 10-meter resolution. So the data sets that I'm going to be using, as I mentioned, are Sentinel-2. I'm going to be using the natural color, color infrared, and bathymetric band combinations. It's because of the bathymetric band combination, which is made possible because of the ultra blue coastal and aerosol band, B1 band of the Sentinel-2 that I felt confident using it. As I mentioned, the Sentinel data is going to be used for the study sites where we are actively working. And for the acquisition dates, I chose to use 3 hurricanes, the dates of 3 hurricanes that have had profound impacts on the local geography and topography here in St. Augustine. Hurricane Matthew in 2016, Hurricane Irma in 2017, and Hurricane Dorian in 2019. For the coastal study area for the 2010 to 2022 change detection, I'm going to be using a combination of Landsat 7 and Landsat 8. Because of my time period that I'm going to be working in, I had to use Landsat 7 because it is the only remote sensing platform that could work for my project. Both produce 30-meter resolution thermal bands and 15-meter resolution panchromatic bands. I'm going to be using the natural color and color infrared band combinations with band wavelengths between 0.45 nanometers for the natural color and 0.52 to 0.90 nanometers for the color infrared. In my project, I'm planning on using different visualizations to better classify and to observe changes in my study areas for the specific years that I listed, 2016, 2017, and 2019. So as you can see, we have 2 study areas. The area to the north, the northerly red box, represents the current St. Augustine Inlet, which is subject to a lot of changes. It was dredged in 1945 by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, making it an artificial inlet. The majority of the shipwrecks and artifact recovery that we've done with our team is actually found to the south in the lower box there, which covers the original entry point into St. Augustine. The original inlet used to have an opening further to the south. I plan on using the bathymetric data to showcase just the general changes to the coastline and sea floor to the extent that it's possible. And for the CIR, I plan to use this for the classification for change detection. This project is going to incorporate a matter of different scales. So for my total coastline, the resolution will be at about a 30-meter resolution, whereas for, say, my other smaller study areas, like the central one is the Matanzas Inlet, which is the southern extent of the coastal study area. That's going to be at about 10-meter resolution, whereas the final image that you see to the left is to the right, is Fort Matanzas, also at a 10-meter resolution. I anticipate trying to do classification and change detection work at the Fort Mose site being the most difficult to achieve just because of its small scale and relatively high resolution. Just for those who are interested, Fort Matanzas is still an active archaeological site. It is preserved by the National Park Service. Fort Mose, unfortunately, none of the structures remain. However, we are currently doing coring samples to identify potential archaeological finds there. So the workflow and software choices for my study, relatively simple, straightforward, that we've been using throughout the entire course. First, gather data using USGS Earth Explorer for the TIFF files, in addition to the Google Earth Engine for the Sentinel-2A datasets. After that, pre-processing the datasets will take place in ArcPro and in the Google Earth Engine. I plan on projecting the datasets to the correct coordinate system, which is going to be the Albers Florida State Plane. This is so that when I conduct my change detection, I can have a nice, clear understanding of just how much area has changed throughout the study period. Likewise, I'm going to have to fix the black bars in the Landsat 7 data, clip the datasets to specific study areas, and export all of these clipped datasets to the eCognition software package. In eCognition, I plan on doing the segmentation and the lion's share of my classification work, both for terrestrial and bathymetric changes. Once finished, I plan on calculating the degree of change in my study areas in ArcPro, finally presenting my findings using ArcPro and Microsoft Word. In the end, I hope to produce a series of change detection maps that not only shows where and if changes have taken place along the coastline, but also to what extent the change has been in the study areas that the LAMP team conducts their work. This is important because understanding changes to the local coastline has several profound or important payoffs. The first being archaeologists can understand where possibly dislodged or uncovered wrecks may be found following a hurricane. Secondly, it helps state, county, and local organizations plan mitigation efforts to protect existing or known archaeological sites or areas where we have discovered artifacts. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing your guys' input and your feedback.